Hi guys, it's Stushie again, and I am here on behalf of Starpoint Entertainment. Today we are with the lovely ladies from the Sistah Space, the domestic abuse charity. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves and then we can start.
Hi everybody, I'm Ngozi and I'm a independent domestic violence advisor, IDVA, and I'm also the CEO of Sistah Space.
My name is Rosanna. I am an independent domestic violence advisor, or otherwise known as an IDVA at Sistah Space.
Cool, so I think one of the first questions that I'm sure everybody wants to know is what was the reason behind creating Sistah Space?
It was the murder of Valerie Ford and her young baby. Valerie had reported that her ex-partner had threatened to burn down the house with her and the children in it, and it was recorded as a threat to property. Subsequently, she was murdered and there was a catalogue of errors, and we found that when it came to African heritage people, the police and other agencies just don't seem to bother. So we decided, we had to do something, be proactive. It was actually the court case where the perpetrator was given 37 years, but when we came outside, there was nowhere for black women to go. We can't go Costa and cry. So, so we decided to the council we need somewhere, and it's been a fight, but we're eventually there.
So what would you say is the mission of Sistah Space?
Our mission, our aims and objectives, the reason that we are in existence continues to grow and it continues to change, I would say, with every month, because we keep finding avenues where we are once again discriminated against, forgotten, left out of the conversation. So our aim is to support African and Caribbean heritage women and girls affected by domestic and sexual abuse. That's the
mission.
Yes.
So on the topic of African heritage women and girls, on average, how many clients would you say you see on a yearly basis?
Clients, service users, survivors, victims. It varies. The pandemic has had an impact on the amount of women that we've increased. I think it's 300%. And because we are pan-London as well as wider, but we're pan-London, the more black women get to hear about us, we just become inundated.
Would you say that you are supported enough pre-pandemic and during the pandemic? Do you think you've been supported enough by whether it be local government or the public in general?
I think you should take that one.
The one-word answer is
no. We have had a really tough time with our local council, our local Labour council. It's been a journey. I don't know if you want to kind of give a brief synopsis. To hear calling this mayor's name kind of brings me out in a rush. So
yeah, we just bullet points. We've never been funded by our local borough.
That's one.
That's just one.
Even though a significant amount of money has been dedicated, ring-fenced for pandemic, and although African heritage women and girls are among those deemed to be most at risk, no money came our way. Furthermore, they evicted us from the secure space we were in while we were trying to find a permanent space, and they've just been quite vindictive, really. But the plus side to that is that the community has gathered around us.
The community have been our
amazing,
and continue
to
be our rock.
And whenever we talk about the community, we're talking about the whole community. We're talking about the Muslim community, the LGBTQ plus community. We're talking about the Jewish community. We're talking every aspect, and that's been beautiful.
Hopefully the local government can take a leaf out of the community's book. So what are some of the services that the Sistah Space provides? So if there's anyone watching that is wanting to get in touch or become a service user, what are some of the services that you would say you guys provide?
Before I hand over to you, what I will say is we're very real. Yeah, we're professional, but we don't subscribe to the Eurocentric view of doing things. So you will see that our space reflects us.
Mm-hmm.
It is run by and for African heritage women. We come from all over Africa and the Caribbean, and we're real, you know? So it means that if someone comes to talk to us, they're gonna just find that this is a soft place to fall, right? But as well as being caring and professional, we're also real, you see? So we kind of work it, we call Rose Mary Seacole of Sistah Space, the Mary Seacole, because she's very calm and very caring and all those kind of things, as am I, but I have another side. See, we have to work like that.
Yeah. Our services are tailored to the client's needs, the women's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, you don't have it written down, this is how it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
You go A, B, C, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
The woman comes, she tells us what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
she tells us what's needed.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tailored to her needs. So it's never,
We dictate.
that's just one of the things. We always
Get things done.
good, yeah.
Mm.
And if it has to be on, sometimes you have to go beyond. You've got to maybe use a creative way in order, just maybe even to get the women to talk, even to get a sister to talk, for example. You may, you listen, and together with them, it's that tailored. That's what we're really.
So the onus is always on the survivor, the service user.
Mm-hmm.
We take our guidance from them. So there's a process that happens that we might talk about later when someone comes to us. A whole process happens, and we can explain that to you. But what we also make sure we do is tell people what domestic abuse is, because you'd be surprised.
That's actually the next question. Could you talk us through some of the different types of domestic abuse? The general public may feel it's all under one umbrella, but what are the different types of domestic abuse?
Can I hand that to you in a minute? But what I will say is the term domestic violence is bandied about. And why we tend not to use that term, because it gives the impression that if it's not physical, then it is not an offence. So when you talk about domestic abuse, it encompasses everything. So we're talking about physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional, did I say financial?
No.
Coercion and control. The list goes on. The list goes on. So what we do is we make sure that we explain to service users that what is happening is an offence. It's not acceptable. You should not have to feel fear in your home. Nobody should be telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what to wear. Nobody should be taking you or threatening you in any sense. So we found that there's a lot that the community don't know.
So maybe a question for Auntie Rose. How would you say that you're able to spot, or what are some of the telltale signs of someone who's fleeing domestic abuse?
The telltale signs of someone who's fleeing. Sometimes you would never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. You would never know. Victims and survivors build a new persona that appears as if they're all right. You and I will be sitting here and we'll be talking nicely and everything. But how you can notice certain things in the conversation. In fact, let me just go back. And Ngozi often says, it's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying.
That's a good one.
So if we were having a conversation about being in a relationship, for example, and we will start with, I used to go to this club, I used to do this, I used to dress like this, I used to dress like that. Used to.
Okay.
Just a lot of past tense.
In
a lot
context,
of
obviously, because some people just grow out of that.
Yeah.
But we're talking in the context of things. Another sign is when somebody comes in the room and that person's whole demeanour changes. And what we would urge the public to do is watch the people around you. Watch the people in your house. Watch the people online. Watch your neighbours, watch your colleagues, because there's something called the 97%, because it's now being estimated that 97% of women say that they have gone through some sort of abuse, sexual or whatever. I would say it's possibly even higher. But then who are you asking? Who is that 97%? Because most of the time, nobody's not speaking to black women. Yeah, I've got this thing about us being left out of the conversation. So there's a lot of things about us without us.
On the topic of black women and being left out, what are the Sistah Space's views or similar agencies for black men who may be in similar situations?
We are, first and foremost, we are a women's charity. But what we have to make people understand is our way is different than, say, the European and even the Asian way. So with black men, they're under attack. Yes? So we would say to other cultures, it's okay, you can very easily maybe say, we're doing a women's thing, we're doing a feminine thing, and the men can fend for themselves. The other culture of men are not under constant attack. Yeah?
True.
As you can see what's happening. And furthermore, the justice system, and I say justice in inverted commas, a black man is more likely to receive a custodial term than a white or an Asian man. Therefore, when a black woman goes to report abuse from a black partner, because we're not going to assume that every black woman is going out with a black man, but if we're talking about brothers, is a term we like to use, then there is so much to consider. A woman has to consider before reporting it to the police is she going to be believed? Because black women are not seen as in need of much protection, because we seem to be hard and strong and what black women have to consider when they go to report abuse, if the perpetrator is black and male, he is more likely to face possible abuse, even murder. I'm sorry, but this is our reality. People don't have to agree with it. So there's a lot to consider before we go and report abuse.
So that's kind of almost another hindrance for, and maybe another reason why black women are said to be underreporting when it comes to domestic abuse.
Absolutely. Who are we going to tell? Who cares?
It's no secret, but I guess it kind of is, that domestic abuse within the black community is extremely high. As a community, what can we do to decrease the numbers of domestic abuse?
Listen, as black people, you know, we talk not only with our mouth but with our face, with our expression. So as you say that, watch me. Our community need to fix up seriously, yes? Because we have this thing about not airing our dirty linen in public, yeah? But each and every one of us have to take responsibility,
100%.
you see? Because when you know that abuse is happening, and you can talk about the church in a minute if you don't mind, right? But I'm talking about, as a parent, I teach my son, you don't need to take it to that level, right? If it's not working, remove yourself.
100%.
You see, right? But also the people that walk with me. You can't walk with me, be abusive to your partner or to whoever, and then be my friend. I'm going to jack you up. So we each have our part to play.
1000%.
You see?
We need to talk in the community. We really do not want to talk about it.
Very taboo.
We also like to blame other people and other reasons as to why the domestic abuse is happening within our community, and many people genuinely do not believe that we as an African people actually have that. And they say, well, if that's the case, why don't we talk about it? That's what they say. Why don't we talk about it? What are we going? What they will say to you? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And if I may, yes, I don't want to leave the elders out of the conversation, because what we've realized is that a lot of older people, I'm talking about descendants of Windrush, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, anybody who's alive is at risk of domestic abuse. And what we find is we grew up with parents from the Caribbean and from Africa who were so used to this kind of abuse being the norm that to receive a slap or something like that was, it was just what happens. And the woman was often told by the church and the community, fix him something nice and try and this and that. So victim blaming and just ignoring the issue sends out a definite message to the perpetrators, right? You can do this and get away with it. You see?
And the way to fix it is to keep talking about it, keep bringing it to the table. You have to keep making us accountable.
100%.
We have to make us accountable. And obviously we know all the things about education and educating and having training and workshops and those kind of things actually go a long way. But there are so many, because the whole intersectionality thing, there are so many aspects
and
layers that need to be, and we just have to keep talking about it.
That's a very interesting question, because also I think if we get to talk about what sexual abuse and rape is, because that's rife in the community also, and we're not talking about it, and it's a very serious thing because the law has changed, and I think we need to teach our young people this, and even the older people. Rape and sexual assault are not always the same thing. Get to understand, yes? This idea of consent would work years ago before a court. The man would say, I thought, right? Hear this. The absence of no does not bring the presence of yes. You see,
that's true.
There's so many young people going to prison because they thought. Not thinking is not a good excuse. You're going to prison, right? And also we need to teach the women as well. Your body belongs to you. Nobody has the right. Yes? And I always say this thing, what I'm going to say next, and it causes a fluff. Let it cause the fluff.
This is the point where we're on an edit.
Are we ready?
Yes.
If a woman decides to go out wearing 2 Milky Way wrappers and a Twix, it's nobody's business. You see? Do you see? It's human.
No, it's fact.
Right?
It's fact.
And I make it light, but it's the actual truth. I can wear what I want, when I want, if I want, how I want, and it's not an invitation for you,
1000%,
with your Brock self, to come over to me. Sorry.
I'd like so much flashbacks on these Brock boys. Now the approach she goes and you're like...
Because Brock is a word that I use in humour. It's fine. You know, and I think we should be real about it.
It's true. It's good.
When I say Brock, I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, morally, everywhere. You're Brock. Yeah? So if you think that somebody came out for you, you need to go and institutionalize your own self. Yes? So this is the message we need to go out there. And we say it without apology. You, the perpetrator.
And the other thing being, with that example, we seem to get stuck with the example.
Yes.
And not
she said
the
Twix.
message.
She said Mars bar. Listen, if you are educationally bankrupt, that's yourself. Yeah, hear the message in what I'm saying. It's an example, right? And it's one to make you think. I could say if someone goes outside without nothing on, that's their business. But I know that if I tell you about the Twix and the Mars bar wrapper, you will take attention.
Yes,
because the fact still remains.
It's true.
You need to be in control of your own. Did you know what the #1 cause of rape? Rapists.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Amen.
So for people like myself and the audience of Starpoint who are not professionals and don't have years of experience such as yourselves, what are ways that we can encourage people to engage with services like yourself? Because I'm sure you've probably experienced hesitance or reluctancy from clients and victims and survivors. What are ways that we can encourage people that we know that are going through it, because the majority of us do, if not ourselves? How can we encourage people to make use of the Sistah Space?
We are you. Maybe different age, maybe different size, maybe size 8. You know, and we laugh, we joke, we are real, but when it's time to get serious, when you are tired, when you are scared, when you are weary, come to us. We have the strength for you. We are here. So all joke aside, this message goes out to the community. But I'm even thinking of those perpetrators who, there is something in rape. There is no statute limitation on you. If it happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, yesterday, whatever, you can still report. Yeah. If you aren't ready to, still come and talk about it. Yeah. Nothing happens unless you want it to. If it is a rape that's recent, yeah, there's something called SARC centres, SARC, Sexual Assault Referral Centres, and they will look after you. They will take the samples, they will take your report, and if you don't want it to go any further, they will hold on to that information until you are ready, if you are ready. The SARC centres, find out where yours is. But if it happened a long time ago, right, still, you know, and this person's walking around, because can I just leave a message for the perpetrators? We see you. I want you to be clear about this. You think it happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you've changed. You are still a perpetrator. You still must account for your behaviour because you've changed someone's life. Whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's domestic abuse, emotional, mental, or whatever, yeah? You can't decide to straighten up one day and go about your business. You've committed an offence. And I'm not saying to you for 1 second, go and find the person, because no, that will disturb them, yeah?
Sometimes it can
just check your own conscience and know, yeah, that you're, because some of them are very well-known people. They tend to have the loudest mouths as well. I'm sorry, there's a lot of those people who are prominent out there who their behaviour has been abusive. And we see you and we call you out. We won't call you by name, not for your protection, but for the women's protection, because we don't want no problems, yeah? But we see you.
Just to provide some more clarity and a bit more information for those who aren't as kind of clued up on domestic abuse as a whole, we've centered a lot of the conversation around rape and more romantical relationships. What are some of the other forms or relationships where you can experience domestic abuse, e.g. family, that kind of stuff? Can we
It's a real
touch
good
on that
question.
Family
Real
abuse,
good question.
yeah.
Familial abuse. So people think that domestic abuse is between partners or ex-partners. It can be father to son, mother to daughter, sister to sister, brother to brother. Anywhere where there's a relationship, whether blood or ex-partner or married or in the family, if the abuse occurs within that remit, then it's classed as domestic abuse. All right? So the lines are fuzzy, but at the same time, they're very clear. Stranger abuse is very different. We deal with that when it's rape or sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that does happen with strangers, but sexual abuse and rape can happen within a relationship as well. Right? So not only partners, but it can be your brother, your uncle, your stepfather, an elder or whatever. So be clear about what it is. And Sistah Space will be running classes online for you to sign up to, but we will make it clear what it is, what domestic abuse is, what sexual abuse is, what rape is, what happens when you report abuse, and the whole thing. So
you mentioned that you'll be having some classes and other brilliant projects coming up. In general, where can people find Sistah Space, whether it be research, to refer someone, or to submit a referral on behalf of themselves? Where are you guys?
we have email.
What's the email?
admin@sistahspace.org. We have Instagram, or Instagram.
And how do you spell the handle on Instagram?
It's Sistah, Sistah space SPACE. I think it's got an underscore.
You know, actually, you can just type Sistah Space into the taskbar, SISTAH SPACE, and we'll just pop up.
Twitter as
There's
well.
Twitter.
Yep.
Twitter.
Yeah.
So Twitter, email, and Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes. Be safe. Call us.
One more question that I think everybody would like to hear as a roundup. What are some of the aims and what do you see for the future of Sistah Space?
Can I tell them about our
Go on.
we've got, you can tell them about the values if you don't mind, and I'll tell them. So we are raising funds for a canal boat. And when I first tell people that we want to get a canal boat, you want to see people laugh. All like you. They laugh. Do you know many people who have a house by the sea? Many black people? No. You know anybody own a canal boat or a boat? No. So we come from across the water. We came over here 400 years ago across the water through slavery. Then we came across with the Windrush. We have a connection with the water. When we're back home, we're the ones who go by the sea. We love the sun, everything. Why are we denied water here?
And also changing the narrative, because usually when we come over on a boat, it's not necessarily positive. So I like that.
Well, Marcus Garvey talks about the Black Star Liner. So we're going to call ours the Black Sistah Liner.
Oh,
You
I
see?
like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Right? And, you know, we need to think outside the box.
Yes.
So you can help us as because we're getting there. We've actually got a lot of support.
How can we help you? Let the Star Point family know.
You know, just follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Bookface.
Is there a GoFundMe? Are you crowd fundraising?
GoFundMe. If you see the links in the Twitter and Instagram, yeah. But above all, I think most importantly, it's Valerie's Law. Can you talk about it? Valerie's Law. Look, Valerie, we started off by telling you about Valerie Ford and her baby daughter. She did something that we don't usually do. We don't usually go to the police because our experiences of the police are not good.
Yeah.
So she did that. And as I said, they put it down as a threat to property.
Yeah.
What we found that there's Clare's law, they're all good, all these other laws, but there's nothing specifically around African heritage women.
Yeah.
So what does Valerie's law seeks to make it compulsory that agencies that deal with black women and domestic abuse must go through our basic training to understand, right? Look, they don't understand enough. You see this Natia? Yeah? I can't wash and go. You see?
Wash and
you,
go.
you see on the TV? Yeah?
Yeah.
10 minutes. I'm going to work. Oh, let me wash my hair and dry it and all this. If I wash my hair, they won't see me for the week.
That's true.
You see?
Wash
right?
That's true, yeah.
The skin. I'm going to talk about shea butter. What's it? What's those creams that they have? Nivea. Them things, they don't help us. When we put that on, 10 minutes later we're outside and we're dry. Everybody know we didn't go through the process. Everything. So these organisations that claim to be supporting African heritage women and don't know the first thing about us
Need to be
stop.
So is there anywhere that we can, is there a petition? Is there anywhere that people can support and encourage pushing Valerie's Law?
Yeah, so the Valerie's Law, we're just waiting for the government to okay the petition. But we have our website and everything is up there. It's sistahspace.org. And keep checking because all the information will be there. And we do need the black community to get behind us as well. You see, because it takes a village.
It does.
Training. We're going to offer free training on our big website thing. I don't understand how these things work. Webinar. Yeah? For people to understand really what it is. And as you see us being light here and jerky, we want you to feel
welcome,
all right with us. But we are your sword and your shield. You see,
we also have a lot of fundraising initiatives that are coming up. They're going to be really wonderful. But once again, as we say, just look at all our social media platforms.
Make sure you're following,
And
turn on your post notifications so you don't miss anything, and most importantly, share, because there might be a link for a donation that you can't add to, but someone else might be. So make sure you share.
Can we say a quick thank you to Black Lives Matter UK? Yeah,
Okay.
and they have funded us to do research, the much needed research specifically about African heritage women and girls affected by domestic abuse. Want to say thank you to the Women's Equality Party, the Lib Dems, the Green Party, the General Public, Sisters Uncut, Brother Andrew Mohammed,
Sister Charmaine Simpson of Black History Studies.
The Reebok crew. There's a brother that came in here with these
Pata.
yeah. The sports place Nike. Yeah. All of these agencies. There's somebody who's doing t-shirts. The community agencies are coming behind us hardcore, but the community, we need you to push a little more, please. Yeah. And we are going. Heaven knows where we are going. We know Osibisa. Yeah?
On that note, on behalf of Starpoint Entertainment, we thank you guys for tuning in. Most importantly, we thank you at the Sistah Space for taking some time out of what I'm sure is an incredibly busy schedule.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more success for Sistah Space.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.